Brent Brennan, head football coach for the Arizona Wildcats. When I say that, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
It's hard to believe. It's so incredible that we're in this position and we get to lead this incredible program and be a part of this university in the city. It's awesome. I mean, it's just awesome.
A lot of coaches, when their first day comes about, we ask, what needs to change? Here, it's a little bit different because it starts with your first priority being to keep a lot of these players that care so much about this program in place. How have you approached that so far?
You know, I started just by being understanding of the city, of what they're going through and hearing them out. Had a lot of one-on-one meetings, had a lot of group meetings, met with some of the upperclassmen, met with some of the leaders, met with some of the guys that are maybe even a little bit younger but are also really impactful players, and just trying to give them a chance to get to know me get to know them, and try and give them an idea like what I think can happen here and how much I care about this place. You know, like the one thing, you know, these guys and I have in common is that we think this place is amazing, right? We think the University of Arizona is amazing. So, you know, can we at least agree on that and then find a way to move forward together? And that's been the message. I was a big Dick Tomey, work together, stay together. And that's where we've been leaning heavily. Like, if we can do that, if we'll stay together, we can continue to build on what you guys did last year, which was this incredible season, and we can continue to make strides towards doing that and competing for championships and playing good football and having fun playing football every week.
These players have been between the white lines at Arizona Stadium. What have they told you about why they love playing here?
Well, for them, it starts with the brotherhood. You know, it starts with how they feel about each other, right? And then it kind of spreads out to the community, like how they feel so loved in this community. It's different. You know, the program I just came from, right? You're in a big city. It just feels different. But here, the community is totally connected with the university. And so that part of it, the outpouring of like, you know, support that they have, the fan base showing up for the games. I was in a basketball game in McHale the other night. It was incredible. I've played in games here and had a crowd that made it hard to get the ball snapped on time, you know. And so I think like those players experiencing all those things coming together is what makes them love it so much.
Let's talk about your situation at San Jose State a little bit. The resource challenges are well documented there, but overcoming those and teaching your players and getting them to love football for football, how much has that been a tenet of how you teach the game?
Yeah, it's at the core of it, right? Because the football is a little bit different than the other sports, because when you practice football, you're not playing it, so to speak, right? You don't want to tackle. The collisions aren't as violent, or you're careful about how you tackle. Let me rephrase that, right? Like some of those things, because you're trying to get everybody ready for game day, or you don't want to get somebody hurt in the practice environment that you really need to perform on Saturdays, right? So there's a balance there of getting the physicality you want. But like if you're playing basketball, you're kind of playing basketball. It's not the same intensity, it's not the crowd, it's like those things, but you're still playing the actual game as you do it. And so, you know, if you don't love football, because you practice so much more than you play, right? So if you don't love football, it can make the experience miserable. And so at San Jose State, we recruited kids who loved playing the game, and that was evident on their film. You could see it, how they practiced. And we were always looking for those kind of markers where we were like, no, this kid likes to play. And then we turn on the tape, and the tape is their resume, right? So does it say they love football? Does it say they want to play? And then you go through the other parts of building that, but as we brought those kids in, it gave us a chance to build the kind of team we wanted to build and have some success there.
Building off of that, what does a Brent Brennan practice look like? What kind of energy do you want to bring to the practice field yourself, and do you want your players to bring?
Yeah, absolutely. It always starts with the players, right? But I do enjoy that part of it, because I think you're not going to feel great every day, but you can really have a choice. You have a choice with how you show up every day, you know. And I'm a big believer in, you know, the power of things you control, and your energy and your enthusiasm, that's up to you. And you can always add that. You can always bring that to the practice environment. And the truth of the matter is when you're practicing at a high level with great energy, we'll have music and noise and all kinds of, kind of fun stuff for the team. You know, in practice competition, how do we raise the level of physicality? How do we pull it back down, right? How do we take yardage off the receivers and DB's legs so that they're healthy for the next practice or game day, or so that they can, you know, play at a higher level for longer. You know, like all those things come together to make a great practice. But it's going to start with the energy in me, because I'm the first guy they see when they walk in the building at our team meeting as we kick off the day.
What kind of opportunity does this program present as far as fan support, as far as the community support that is just so unrelenting, and you've seen it here for a long time?
I think that's really, really cool. And I think the administration here, I think Dave Hickey and President Robbins have done a great job, like really getting people in the stands, right? And, that has been just so impressive to watch. Now, and I honestly believe that that also adds to playing good football. It's much harder to play on the road when the crowd is all over you. It's much harder. It leads to, players losing their composure, coach losing their composure. It leads to penalties. It leads to mistakes. It leads to all kinds of things that can kind of derail you in a game. And so I think they've done a great job, because I watched these games this year. The place was packed, and the fans were rowdy. And that is so cool, because when you have that and you create that home environment, it is electric, and your opponent feels it every snap. And that can really impact the outcome of the game.
Well, not to speak for you, but that seems to be one of the big reasons you were interested in the job back in 2020. Why were you so interested in it then, and how have you grown the past 3 years to maybe be more ready for this job than you were back then?
Yeah, I think I mentioned that at the press conference, was that, it didn't work then, but I also felt like I still had a lot of work to do at San Jose, and I felt like I was exactly where I was supposed to be. And in this moment, I feel like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. And the reality is, at that time, I'd only been a head coach for 4 years. And so I learned a lot in the last 3 years, whether all kinds of things happen in the day-to-day. You're managing 200 people, right? And 110 or 120 of them are 17 to 23 years old, right? So it's like a really dynamic group of people. And so all kinds of things come up when you're responsible for that many people, and it's like anything else, right? The more reps you get at, catching a ball or throwing a ball or making a tackle, like there should be improvement. Well, I felt like the same thing for me as being a head coach, is that like the more reps I got at being a head coach, the better I got at handling the situations that came my way day in and day out, and helped me be more prepared for this moment in my life right now.
Last thing I have for you, why is this a destination job to you? Because you hear that in college football all the time about these jobs are the destination jobs, but seeing the smile on your face as you walked into the building, it feels like that.
I think every place is different to every person. You know what I mean? I think some jobs are destination jobs because someone said like, oh, well, I always wanted to coach at Notre Dame or whatever, right? I think for me, like my history here, my family's history here, when I was a young assistant coach here or a graduate assistant and trying to figure out my path in college football, like the people that I was here with were so impactful, because it wasn't just Coach Tomey, right? It was, and we also talked about Dino, right? But it was, when we left here, I went to go work for Rich Ellerson at Cal Poly, and then got circled back with Coach Tomey. I was working for Rob Ianella, who was really, really a big part of it, with Charlie Dickey. So I think those guys were such impactful on my life, and they loved their experience here so much. And because I got to see that firsthand, I was always hopeful that I would get a chance to come back. And then when I got to be a head coach, then it changed to, well, wow, okay, I really hope I get a chance to come back as the head coach at Arizona. And now that it's happened, I can't believe it. It's awesome.